Good evening, everybody. Thank you all for joining us. My name is New York State Senator Pete Harckham, and welcome to the Environmental Conservation and Housing Conference Committee. I'm so honored to co-chair this with my colleague from the New York State Assembly, Assemblymember Deborah Glick, who is the chair of Environmental Conservation as well. For those of you who have not joined us and are playing at home, this is kind of a ceremonial first pitch as we start the budget negotiations. So it's really kind of a nice way for both chambers to come together to start the dialogue in a public way before we go offline and the staffs and the legislators dive into negotiations round the clock. So I'm really excited to say a couple of quick words, and then I'll introduce the Senate members, and I'll turn it over to Chairwoman Glick. There are a lot of exciting possibilities to discuss regarding environmental conservation, whether it be the Environmental Protection Fund, whether it be how we address the CLCPA and the scoping plan. There are many different proposals on how to address those, energy, things like water infrastructure funding, emerging contaminants, lead. So we really have a lot of great opportunities on the environmental side, and I really am excited to collaborate with our colleagues from the legislature and the second floor as we get a lot accomplished. Needless to say, we also have many opportunities in housing, in agriculture, in parks, and energy, which are all part of this working group. So before I turn it over to Assemblymember Glick, we have a couple introductions. First, we want to welcome Eileen Hinchy, who is here as a guest. Welcome, wherever you are. There she is. Thank you. Welcome for joining us. Our recording secretary from the Senate is Sylvie Sherlock, who also happens to be my legislative director. We had to say that for the record. And let us say our members who are here. We have Senator Brian Kavanagh, chair of Housing, Senator Hinchy, who is the chair of Ag, Senator Zellner Myrie, who is the chair of Elections, and we have Senator Pamela Helming, who is the ranker on the Housing Committee. And with that, I'm pleased to turn it over to Assemblymember Glick.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to work with you and with the committee as we endeavor to move forward on a host of issues. I'm the chair of the Assembly's Environmental Conservation Committee. We have a lot of issues that are before us, very important issues to move the state in the right direction as we confront climate change. And there will be many funding issues that are related to the environment and agriculture and housing that we will need to work out. And I look forward to doing that in as collegial fashion as we possibly can. Obviously, we will be talking about the Environmental Protection Fund and the water infrastructure proposal because these are critical to ensuring that New York State has the resources available to address the myriad concerns that we have. I want to introduce the members of our subcommittee. We have Assemblymember Linda Rosenthal, who chairs our Housing Committee, Assemblymember Donna Lupardo, who is the chair of our Agriculture Committee, Assemblymember Danny O'Donnell, who is the chair of Tourism, Parks, Arts, and Sports Development. We have alternates, Assemblymember Jessica Gonzalez Rojas, Assemblymember Brian Cunningham, and we have with us from the other side of the aisle, my ranker, Matt Simpson, and Assemblymember Chris Tague, and I do need to designate our recording secretary, Thomas Roll. We'll go over the agencies that are going to be comprise what this subcommittee will be addressing. These are the agencies that are at this table. The Adirondack Park Agency, the Department of Agriculture and Markets, the Department of Environmental Conservation, the Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation, the Olympic Regional Development Authority, the Energy Research and Development Authority, the Department of Public Service, the Division of Housing and Community Renewal, the State of New York Mortgage Agency, I guess that's for housing, the Hudson River Greenway Communities Council, and the Hudson River Park Trust. So we definitely have our work cut out for us. Now, if members want to make.
Sure. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. And with that, we will first turn to the Chair of the Senate Committee on Housing. For a statement, Brian Kavanaugh.
Thank you very much to our respective, there we go. Thank you very much to our respective chairs and everybody who is joining us today from both houses of the legislature and both parties. This is a very significant moment for our efforts, our ongoing efforts that we've launched over the last few years to ensure that everyone in New York has a decent, safe, affordable place to live. I compliment the governor on putting housing front and center in this budget process, in her executive budget, and indeed in some advocacy efforts that she's been engaging in since the fall. We are going to have ongoing conversations about how to deliver on that, on the promise of ensuring that there is housing available in all of our communities. But the Senate One House resolution does include many of the elements that were in the executive budget, but substantially modified in ways that we're going to have continuing conversations on. We've also brought several big priorities of the Senate and the legislature to that conversation. We've been working, many of us, on creating a reliable rental assistance program and the housing access voucher program since 2020. The Senate and I also joined the Assembly in this year are putting once again $250 million into our resolutions to support that. We're hoping to get that done this year. We've got $40 million for legal services for eviction cases outside New York City, and $40 million critically for the HOP, the Homeowner Protection Program, which was zeroed out in the executive proposal this year. There's also a big rental assistance thing that is not at this table, but is very relevant because it affects all of our housing providers in the state, that both the public housing authorities and the Section 8 providers, and we're proposing to fully fund the remainder of the emergency rental assistance program at $389 million. And again, that is at another table. But we're also, our usual priorities to ensure that rural and neighborhood preservation corporations work very closely with my colleague, Senator Hinchey, on making sure that our proposal really is a robust answer to the need for housing in small towns and rural areas and throughout the state. And we've got some very significant investments there as well. Again, this is going to be, I think, a complicated negotiation, but I think everyone at this table, and I know in the executive branch, share the goal of ensuring that we're doing what we can to invest in housing and make sure everybody's got access. I do also just want to briefly mention the All Electric Building Act. The Senate and the Assembly also there have prioritized that in our resolutions, and of course the governor had a version of that in her executive budget, and that is a critical part of our goals of addressing and achieving our goals on climate change. So I'm very proud that we're pushing that forward, and again hoping to get that done as a critical part of the budget, the adopted budget this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Assembly.
Linda?
Thank you. Thank you, Assemblymember Glick and Senator Harckham. I'm Assemblymember Linda Rosenthal. I'm the chair of the Assembly Committee on Housing. We will be having many conversations before the budget deadline about how we can build more housing, how we can create more affordable housing. And I think amidst the call for building more housing, we also have an immediate need and obligation to help those who are unhoused and those on the precipice of eviction. With that in mind, the Assembly does put $250 million for the Housing Access Voucher Program, which has received across-the-board support, all the way from developers to activists. Broad spectrum of people support this, and that would provide rental assistance to homeless New Yorkers, those on the verge of becoming homeless, whether due to a loss of housing, domestic violence, or some other situation. Last year's budget, both the Assembly and the Senate put this in. It didn't make it into the final budget, but this is the year that it must make it into the final budget, because we can't keep bemoaning a crisis and not provide solutions, and this is one good solution. We also have HOP, which inexplicably was missing from the executive's budget. Last year, the executive put in $20 million, and we added $15 million. This year, there's nothing, so both the Assembly and the Senate put in $40 million, because that's what's needed now to help homeowners who are in crisis, and we don't want them to lose their housing. Yeah, there are a lot of topics here. There's the rental arrears for NYCHA in the city, public housing authorities across the state, Section 8 tenants is real, and we will be addressing that, hopefully with the city's contributions as well. But there's a lot to talk about, and we will spend a lot of time going carefully over all the proposals, including some of our own. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. And before we go to our next speaker, I should add that we in the Senate have been joined by Senator Mark Walczyk, who will be addressing us shortly. And with that, we will now turn it over to Senator Michelle Hinchey.
Thank you very much. Is this on? Is it working?
Yep.
There it is. Great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Senator Harcum, Assemblymember Glick, and I want to thank my Assembly counterpart, Assemblymember Lepardo, for your work on the agriculture budget. This is a really exciting moment for New York agriculture. As we look to the future, New York agriculture is going to play an even bigger role in feeding not just us here in our state, but people across the country due to the impacts of the climate crisis. And so it is critically important that we are investing in this sector, that we are supporting our farmers, and we're supporting the ag businesses so that way we are actually growing and sustaining strong local food supply. And within this budget, there's a lot of things that we have fought for, from investing, really reinvesting in research and marketing for many of our different variety of crops. We have a new investment that we're proposing for agroforestry, which will help bring in our farmers to really be part of the solution to the climate crisis, and finally start to actually pay them for ecosystem management. A lot of work that they've already been doing, we need to be able to help. And I think if we can start to create a program around that work, we will all be better served across our state. We have strong investments in here for really identifying agrovoltaics and doing some real research around solar development on farmland. We have to make sure, obviously, that we have renewable energy, but we can't exchange a climate crisis for a food crisis. And so we have to be thoughtful about how we are doing both and protecting our farmland, and having some of that investment in here is critically important. Another investment space that's also not at this table, but another one, is helping our hemp manufacturing and processing, and making sure that we are setting up our farmers for success, and that we are really creating products for the future, something that my colleague, Assemblymember Lepardo, has led on for a very long time, and something that a moment right now I think we have to be able to make a big difference and dent in that space. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the Clean Water Grants, really identifying an ability to provide a CHIPS-like funding for water infrastructure for our municipalities by expanding funding within the Clean Water Grants. That would be a game changer for many of our upstate and smaller rural communities, and something that I'm excited to have here at this table, and something that we can fight for. So overall, there's a lot to be really excited about here in the state of New York agriculture, and I look forward to being able to deliver positively for our farmers and farm businesses. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Donna?
Thank you. Are we on? Yeah. Well, thank you, Senator Hitchie. I appreciate your enthusiastic partnership. It's really been a pleasure working with you this last stretch. I think if you take a good look at what both houses have done, it's pretty clear that we are continuing with our ongoing commitment to prioritizing agriculture and food, certainly in this year's budget and years past. I don't think you could possibly have come through the last few years without having an enhanced appreciation for the food supply chain and what it means to average New Yorkers who wish to purchase food. It has also brought into a very clear view the value of local and fresh. And we are committed to doing everything we can to support those farmers and producers who are bringing food from farm to table in very difficult circumstances. So I do think that our priorities are well aligned. I think we've done a good job knowing the things that needed to be done. We're supporting all aspects of New York's food and agricultural economy. Research and development is crucial, education and outreach, and supporting many programs for our new and diverse group of farmers that we want to promote. There's a lot of new capital in the budget for agriculture, and I'm hoping most of it can get over the finish line. Certainly the investment in climate resilient farming, as well as the investment in a new Cornell expansion of the new Cornell vet lab. Also, a shout out to the governor for her promotion of food access infrastructure in underserved communities and retrofitting small kitchens around our school systems. So with that in mind, thank you very much for all our colleagues, their hard work. It's a pleasure to work with you collaboratively.
Thank you. With that, we'll turn to Senator Zellner-Myrick. No? We're good? All right. So then with that, we will turn to the ranker on housing, Senator Pamela Helming, who will be delivering the minority response to all of the committees represented at this table. So.
Thank you, Senator, and thank you to both subcommittee chairs, Senator Harcum and Assemblymember Glick. Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity, as Senator Harcum said, to share with you the position of the Senate Republican Conference on the housing, environment, and agriculture budget proposals. I mean, think about it. These are areas that truly impact every single New Yorker in one way or another. Before I get into those specific areas, though, a comment on the overall budget. What we're looking at, what New Yorkers are faced with, is a final spending plan that is likely to land somewhere between $227 and $236 billion, potentially one of the highest budgets in the United States of America. And it's great to be here and to be working and discussing this matter in a bipartisan fashion. But what happens after today is that the budget process goes dark. It goes behind closed doors, and interested citizens are shut down. I think we should all be fighting for more transparency with the entire budget process. On the issue of housing, our state has the lowest homeownership rate of any state in the nation. We also have some of the highest property taxes in the nation, and we have thousands of people who are moving out of the state every year. We're losing job talent that employers desperately need. The Senate Republican Conference has prioritized plans that address these issues. This includes making housing and homeownership achievable for seniors, for first-time homeowners, and for others. As a conference, we strongly oppose the mandates that are in this budget that drive up taxes, increase the cost of building, and further restrict homeownership opportunities. We also strongly oppose the portions of the governor's housing compact that establish arbitrary housing goals for every city, town, and village in the state, and take away local decision-making. We support the Senate majority's actions to remove the language mandating transit-oriented development. We'd like to see further progress on strengthening local control of development. This includes removing budget language giving DHCR powers to regulate land use and essentially override local officials. I know that's a conversation my colleague, Senator Kavanaugh, have had ongoing, and I know it's something that he's going to look into as well. Our conference fully supports the budget proposals that offer our local government officials incentives, like increased funding for water and sewer infrastructure that will ultimately lead to increased housing options and opportunities for people. And we strongly support the restoration of funds for our land banks and our land trusts. In the final budget, we're looking to the majority to include measures that mitigate further restrictions on New York City development, like the Florida area ratio requirements and the inclusion of a program similar to 421A. When it comes to environmental conservation, we are all of us are working for a clean future for our children and our grandchildren. The Senate Minority Conference supports additional money for the Clean Water Infrastructure Act. That's something that we championed and incorporated into the budget when we were in the majority. We also support funding to combat harmful algal blooms, the SWAP program, as Senator Hinchey mentioned, and the septic system rebate program. We stand with the many businesses and the members of the agricultural community calling for the extended producer responsibility policy to be removed from the budget. We urge the majority to work with our local businesses, including representatives of the wine and the craft beverage industry, Farm Bureau, and impacted manufacturers to develop a proposal that is reasonable. These groups, they want to be part of the conversation, and more importantly, they want to be a part of the solution. We also believe the bottle bill language should be pulled out of the budget. Expanding the types of containers subject to deposit and increasing the fees at a time when New Yorkers are already struggling to pay for groceries shows poor policy. And again, the businesses responsible for recycling and those impacted by this policy should have a seat at the table. When it comes to the energy proposals, we believe the aggressive deadlines to replace existing reliable sources of energy with electricity it's a potentially dangerous mandate. Alternative sources of heat, such as geothermal heat pumps, are too costly, and questions still remain about their effectiveness in colder climates. In many areas of the state, including where I live, during power outages, gas and oil heat have literally helped people to survive. The recent Buffalo storm is one example of the unreliability of the electric grid. And at a time when the state is focused on affordable housing, this all-electric proposal seems to be counterintuitive. Builders are reporting long delays due to power companies having supply chain issues. The builders, developers that I'm hearing from who want to build more houses, more affordable houses, are waiting up to 2 years to get electric transformers from the power companies. That's something that we need to address before we go to the all-electric proposal. On agriculture, as a senator proudly representing a largely rural and agricultural area, I am pleased to see a number of restorations made to the programs that were originally cut or decreased in the executive's proposal. But as I heard Senator Hinchey say on the Senate floor today, there is still so much more to do to support our farmers. And to both the chairs in the Senate and the Assembly, I really thank them for their hard work, their effort, their energy, enthusiasm to help our farmers. Our state is home to more than 33,000 family farms. They are significant economic drivers, generating more than $44 billion for our state. Recently, many of these family farmers have expressed concerns with the minimum wage proposals and the minimum wage increases, the unemployment cost burdens, and the all-electric proposals on top of the recently approved farm workers' overtime mandate. The final budget should not include policy that places additional burdens on our family farms. In fact, any increase to minimum wage should be offset with corresponding increases to the overtime tax credits. I'll finish by saying the Republican Conference will continue our work to strengthen our communities by making our state a more affordable and a safer place where families want to live, where people choose to live, to work, and to raise their families. Thank you.
Thank you. Assembly.
Thank you very much. We are mindful of the fact that we have a conference committee coming in behind us, so we'll try to be more expeditious. Chair O'Donnell?
Thank you very much, Ms. Glick. I have no comments.
Thank you very much. I thank you on behalf of the next committee. Assemblymember Tague.
Thank you, Senator Harkam and Assemblymember Glick. Thank you very much, and my fellow colleagues. Thank you for affording me the opportunity to speak on behalf of the Assembly Minority Conference. As we embark on the budget negotiation project, we in the Assembly Minority hope that a five-way discussion is conducted to ensure the views of all New Yorkers are represented. At a time when our farmers are struggling, the Farm Labor Wage Board's decision to recommend lowering the farm labor overtime threshold to 40 hours is devastating. This decision will spell disaster for many of our upstate farmers, forcing farm families to relocate out of state and further eroding an essential industry which feeds all New Yorkers. Our farmers need help, and this isn't what it looks like. That is why my conference and I are proud sponsors of the New York Food Insecurity, Farm Resiliency, and Rural Poverty Act. Our conference proposal will integrate Nourish New York into a broader than $50 million effort to revitalize New York agriculture, as well as strengthen the state's food supply chain and promote economic development while delivering New York agricultural products to those who need them. This proposal also highlights the need to expand commercial meat processing in the state to alleviate the supply chain issues faced by farmers trying to get livestock products to market. On another note, the Assembly proposed universal free school meals in this year's One House. If that's going to be considered, we should also consider allowing students to finally have whole milk and dairy products back in school lunch programs. It is no secret that the energy and emissions objectives outlined in the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act, also known as the CLCPA, are ambitious and are projected to be expensive to achieve. For example, depending on the study one wishes to use, there are several available. Costs to convert the appliances of home or business from oil or natural gas to electric for cooking and heating could approach $35,000 or more per household or facility. The governor's proposal to provide $200 million for low-income electrification efforts is nowhere near enough to cover this. Again, the mother of all unfunded mandates. I am also concerned that having enthusiastically placed themselves out in front of New York's energy transition vision, the majority has not proven willing to answer valid questions posed by the public on possible problems or challenges of implementing the CLCPA, especially when it comes to communicating cost-benefit information on the CLCPA implementation, which needs to be done in an expeditious and objective manner. I hope that both houses of the legislature, majority and minority, can work together through this budget process and the remaining session to address the looming negative impact that CLCPA will have on our residents, their homes, their communities, their gas stoves, and their businesses. Housing is a crucial issue across this entirety of New York State, and funding should be available across the state. The governor's New York Housing Compact and transit-oriented development proposals usurp local authority and mandates municipalities to construct housing despite any objections local municipalities may have. The Minority Conference supports the right of municipalities to govern themselves and to develop their towns and cities as they themselves see fit. The Minority Conference is further pleased to see that the One House budgets have rejected these mandates. In closing, I've heard the word crisis several times sitting here. The only crisis that we face is if we continue to spend money that we don't have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Assembly Member.
All right, mindful of time, we apologize. We're running a couple minutes over. Final speaker for the Senate, Senator Mark Walczyk.
Thank you, Chairman, and I was going to be very complimentary of a lot of the things that we do agree with as a conference, especially when it comes to the agriculture budget, and in the interest of time, I'll just focus on some of the things that we don't. We reject the policy items which were not included in budget hearings, and I'll just repeat that because I think it's important. We reject the policy items that are included and one-house budget proposals that we didn't hear from the public on. I think that's critically important every time we talk about the budget process. We reject the overall price tag and the plan to tax New Yorkers and indebt the next generation of New Yorkers. We oppose the timeline by which, in general, and I won't belabor all of the points that my colleagues have made about electrification, but here's a very large concern about the timeline for electrification. In 2025, new single-family homes in New York State will be electric, all electric. In 2028, that's when the trigger, at least by this plan, for 7-story new construction buildings will be all electric. The governor proposed by 2030, the New York Power Authority facilities that are burning natural gas for New York City would be shut down. The Senate's one-house budget has proposed kicking that out to 2040. This timeline is upside down. Single-family homes can afford it the least. New York City wants it the most. We would rebut. You do it first. How was that for brevity?
Good job. Thank you.
Thanks very much. And as we come to a close for today's meeting, I want to thank the conference subcommittee members for their comments and look forward to working with you over the next several days. We have very important issues to deal with, and I'm confident that this subcommittee and the great members thereof will work together on the process of enacting a responsible and on-time budget. I repeat, an on-time budget for a number of reasons, not the least of which our communities need to know what dollars are going to be coming forth from the state budget. So I appreciate the courtesies of Senator Harcum and very much look forward to working with all of our committee members.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. It's a pleasure to work with you and to all the members here. And we just want to say that like Chairwoman Glick, we too are committed to an on-time budget. I think that's essential to the confidence of the people who sent us here, confidence of the markets. And we've got a lot of exciting things that we're talking about here. We're talking about investing in changing the economy, creating 100,000 jobs, improving our environment, addressing climate change, putting New York agriculture on solid footing, creating badly needed houses. We talk about why people are leaving New York. It's because housing is too high because the supply is choked. It's simple math. So we have a lot of opportunity in this budget. We may not all agree on all of the solutions, but that's democracy. And so we look forward to the next couple of weeks working on these issues together and coming up with the best budget possible for the people of New York.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
We are
all.
adjourned.
Thank you.